Hello everyone, I'm Renato Castro. Today I'm here, I can say now, my hometown. I'm in Italy, very close to the area that I live. And I come here to talk about a very interesting topic. Everybody in the world is talking about 5G now. And I'm here with Gianluca Perin. He is the CTO of a very disruptive company, Italian company. They have won already 4 times the Mobile Congress Award. And we're going to discuss a little bit about what is to come in 5G and why 5G is so important. So Gianluca, thank you very much for your time with us. So if I have to explain to my kid that is 9 years old what 5G is, how could you say?
Yes, so, thank you for coming. I mean, it's not really a very nice day today. I mean, I guess in Brazil is much better. But I mean, so thank you for coming. It's cold.
My pleasure.
Here. To your kid, 5G is a name, and we need to talk about football, perhaps. How 5G can change football, how we can put with 5G sensors everywhere, and maybe we can put in one day even a football
field. Okay, but anyway, my kids play rugby, but that's
okay. We can turn it into rugby. So of course, it's all about how quick you go. How many devices can talk to each other very quickly, and how long does it take for the packets to arrive to destination? So how quick, in other words, is your communication with anything?
Yeah, well, we are very used when we talk about internet speed and 5G or 3G or whatever. We are very used to talk about the speed, but it's not only speed, right? It's also the latency. The how fast the machines can communicate and exchange packages of data, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so 5G, basically the main difference is not only because it's faster, but it also makes communication more real time, right?
Exactly.
It's like people talking. So I used to say that 5G is the real enabler of Internet of the Things, because things now can talk as people talk, right?
Exactly. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
No. So I mean, this is really exactly the point. We don't underestimate the speed, because one thing that is happening, and is probably very interesting also for rural areas, is that you cannot take the fiber everywhere. So what's happening now is that if you want a decent speed, you usually get either the fiber to your home. But if you start to get already an offer with 5G to have 1 gigabit per second into your home, and the fiber arrives only to the center of the city, then this makes the difference, isn't it? Where do you live?
I live just nearby. We have a terrible internet there, and I use my 4G to connect internet and to upload videos, because with my landing internet it's impossible. So yeah, exactly. I mean, we just can make it possible if we can bring internet to everyone, the Internet of the Things. So I think 5G also will help us with this, right? It arrives. You don't need physical structure, or you need less physical structure to have these arriving now in our house, right?
Exactly.
Or in our life.
So the first 5G introduction is what is called the fixed wireless access.
Okay.
So, and the first 5G wave is basically coming to that. So many internet service providers here in Italy as well, they basically started to offer this, and they say, okay, this is now becoming a substitution of a fiber, at least for the last mile. That's a very important point.
Okay, so it's very clear for us to understand that now I can download the video maybe 10 times faster than before. But how 5G will impact the economy and will change the industries? Give us an example, how it make our future different and better than it is now.
The future being better for the technology. I mean, hopefully everyone will find, happiness inside himself. I don't promise the technology will
Black
bring
Mirror
that.
doesn't show this so much, right?
Exactly. But so I'll give you an example. Of practical things. So we're very active in the USA. The USA is launching what is called the CBRS, which is basically a band that is a shared spectrum access. What this means is that not only operator will be able to use it, but also private enterprises, people can use this band. So this is actually the first time. I mean, it's happening in Japan, it's happening in Germany, it's happening in many countries now, where basically the the spectrum is not a monopoly of the operator anymore. So what we did is basically we launched with Amazon at the Amazon reInvent in Las Vegas in November. We showed basically how it would look like to have all these 120 camera with artificial intelligence on board to talk with each other, to do some face recognition. They could do things like recognizing if you are human, a bottle, or things like that. So basic stuff, but important. So you need to imagine when we set it up, this demo, 120 cameras, which was had 120 keyboard, 120 screen. It was a massive work to be done. And so we had these people coming over, a big room with a lot of people that can stay there. And at a certain point, they said, "Oh, this is the first time we can roll out all these cameras so quickly." I said, "Why?" Well, because usually you get 10 to 15 cameras to communicate with each other if you use Wi-Fi. If you don't use Wi-Fi, if you use Wi-Fi, with above this number, then the network gets overloaded and they don't, congested. You can't really connect it anymore. So what do? Well, we have to connect all these camera with a Ethernet cable. So you need to imagine 120 camera and 120 Ethernet cable going to 120 switches port, and
it's
all
a
this
huge infrastructure, and 120 is not so many. I mean,
Right, exactly.
Imagine if you go to a city, yeah.
Exactly. So instead we did it with 4G. So it's CBRS now. Then it will become 5G. But what is happening is showing how the cellular technology is capable of handling quality of service and and this type of access, massive access. So 5G will improve on that. So the people said, okay, so finally I can finish my job very quickly. And then the next things you think about is, what if this camera moves? It would be impossible to wire them. So 5G will enable these type of networks to be built in seconds, and you just need to plug a new device, have a SIM card, being authenticated and all the rest, because it's a very secure network, and also give the quality service according to what you want. So 5G will bring also the capability of doing and bringing your own network.
And to change the perspective of even some nations, right? I mean, we go to Africa, you see some nations that are still underdeveloped in terms of infrastructure for telecommunications. When it comes in a wireless concept, without wires, without infrastructure, without cables, so nations that has nothing today, in the future they can be up on the top of technology just by using new technology like yours. I mean, like, I remember I met your company. I met you first time like 3 years ago, and you have the product that I loved, the name that was Smart City in a Box, that was exactly this concept of bringing connectivity to a city. We know that the core of a smart city project is the connectivity. You need to connect sensors and cameras, people, so on. And so now you are even in a stage above, right? I mean, you are now a faster smart city in a box, we can say like this. Tell us about this technology that you won the award in Mobile Congress.
Yeah, so starting from the concept of trying to bring internet to all the people, and so to solve problems that the enterprises and normal people have, we really built this network being like a software only, that you can bring it somewhere and anywhere. And so we like to have the availability to bring the best technology, which is the cellular technology, 4G now, 5G in a little while, to people, to a smart city, to enterprises. And so what do they do with that is really, what they know best. We don't really know all the things. So we know, for example, they're using these things in mines. You cannot really imagine how many things they can do in mines. This is, all these unmanned vehicles, they will stop if they don't have internet connectivity, because they need to be controlled at any time, and there is all security, and so every vertical has its own thing. So a city that is going to be able to have all these devices connected, being able to bring monitoring all the devices and give all the data to people to source and to make it a better use of them, and to connect all the vehicles and be able to control all the traffic and this type of things. This is sort of what we do. Then your question was, well, why we won the Global Mobile Awards. We won 4. And that was in the same year. That was an amazing story for us, because that include even the best network for enterprise, and also the CTO awards, which is something that, you know, no, I mean, it's just
it's a teamwork. I know.
no,
But anyway,
no,
you are the one there taking the
but what I'm saying, I'm grateful.
The Oscars. Oscars goes to
No, but I'm
Gianluca.
grateful to the judges, because I mean they basically decided that this sort of was the innovation of the year. So our innovation is called Bubble Cloud.
Okay.
And the Bubble Cloud is basically a hybrid cloud solution. What we did is we took the network and we're trying to reduce complexity. So we took the most complex part, we put it into the cloud. In this case, it's Amazon Cloud. And then we have all these edge nodes, which have the capability of bringing keep local the traffic. So you can keep the local the traffic, so very low latency, very high security, and at the same time you'll be able to manage potentially hundreds of thousands of independent networks centrally, and keeping also the traffic local. Very much 5G story, and of course upgradable to 5G as soon as sort of the devices come out. And and one of the motivation that we got the award is that the judges really said that, you know, in this new world and this new sort of connectivity, massive connectivity, that we need a way to simplify the most important part, which is, you know, what we do is basically is called the core network, which is usually was really big proprietary hardware that was sitting somewhere, and single point of failures, or redundant, but very costly, which was the single barrier, most important barrier to adoption of the cellular technology. Now, if this is software, you can bring it everywhere. And then you take
it's more democratic also. Yeah, sure.
You can take your base stations and purchase it from anywhere and make your own network. And so community will be able to do their own network. Operator can contribute to have a community. Operator cannot reach every places, and they cannot, and it may not make economical sense. But your city knows what they need. The enterprises or the village, remote village, they know that they need connectivity, although maybe
sure.
It's in a digital divided area, if you will. So we're trying to enable everyone to build their own network.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you to host us here in this beautiful landscape of Vicenza. And well, I hope to see you around the world soon with your technology. Thank you very much. You make us Italians very proud with your technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, well, so 5G is closer than we think, and much more than this, 5G is cheaper and faster to let's say to implement than we think. So see you in the next video. Thank you.